Gotta do it for yourself and kicking ball since you were young. Lions on your kit, but you've been playing since a cub. When you're stepping on the pitch, you know you gotta...
Manchester United's Casemiro with a wonder goal to give Brazil the 3 points, to give Brazil their best start to a World Cup campaign since 2002. That's 20 years ago. It's 20 years since they won it. Not a sparkling Brazilian performance, but we know how hard Switzerland are to beat. We know how difficult Switzerland are to break down. And the Brazilians really struggled with that tonight, but they persevered, especially after getting that goal disallowed from Vinny Jr. You thought maybe, just maybe, the Swiss are going to nick a point here, put themselves into a commanding position. But the brilliance of Casemiro shone through. An excellent first-time strike on the volley, outside of his boot, swerving into that top corner. Absolutely majestic. That's all you can say, is absolutely majestic. There's no doubt about it. It was out of this world. I want your thoughts and I want your feelings in the comment sections right now, people. Make sure like buttons are being smashed as well. But what a game. What a day of football we have had as well. I was very busy this morning. You'll all find out why very, very soon. But of course, in the games involving South Korea and Ghana, the other game involving, I don't remember who is playing now, Cameroon and Serbia, just sensational football. And it was a different kind of game, the Brazil match. It was different from the point of view of, how do I say this in the right way? It was like a purist game. It wasn't bad football. It was just, there wasn't the room for the flair. You know, Switzerland, for me, took a lot of life out of Brazil. A lot of people will blame Brazil, but you have to give credit to the way Switzerland play, in my opinion. This comment here says, best goal I've seen from a steady Eddie. I will say that. Yeah, the steady Eddie comments, how good is Casemiro really? One, dominating the Premier League since he arrived, been sublime in most of his games, was excellent in Brazil's first game against Serbia. And today, again, didn't put a foot wrong in midfield, doing his job, no doubt. And then, of course, comes up with an absolute thunderbolt, a goal that will live on in his memory. And you never know, listen, for Brazilians to be remembered at World Cups, they have to win it, because they have a much higher ceiling than most other nations. They have a much higher threshold for what success looks like. But a brilliant moment for him, there's no doubt. Casemiro, best CDM of all time is what's meant there. It's definitely the best in the world right now. There is no shadow of a doubt about it. Where is he, Rodri? I don't actually understand that comment. You need to explain. Where's Rodri? Why would Rodri be playing in this game? Rodri's Spanish, bro. Are you saying he's better than Rodri? Is that what you're saying? Right, I get it. Maybe I get it. Cool. Sorry, I don't know why I didn't get that. That goal was pure inspiration. That it was, my friend. It was a sublime effort, to say the least. This Brazil team reminds me of France in 2018. They didn't start in a brilliant way, but it just kept ticking along, and it got better all the way to the final. And you could be right there, my friend. This Brazilian team has the capabilities. This Brazilian team has quality throughout. And that Neymar's missing, and they still found a way. Most teams won't be as difficult to beat as Switzerland. Remember, this is a Swiss team that knocked out the world champions from the Euros. They are no mugs. I don't think they're good enough to win it, but they're no mugs. Anyone who plays them is in for a tough night. Terry, you and Jessica laughed when I said the Swiss were slept on. They were a decent team. They are going to the knockouts, no doubt. Do you know what I would say? I wouldn't doubt they're going to go to the knockouts. I think it was maybe my interpretation when you say being slept on. I'm like, are you saying they're going to win it? Because we were kind of talking about who's going to win the tournament. I think nobody's sleeping on Switzerland being a good team. I just don't think anybody fancies them to win it. But they could definitely take a scalp or two along the way. They almost got themselves a kind of scalp today against Brazil. They most certainly did. Rodrigo changed the game. But Rodrigo, let me just check in when he came on. Rodrigo came on. He came on very early, didn't he, for Paqueta, who wasn't doing too much in this game. Of course, we saw Anthony and Jesus come on. Looking at the substitutes now, they were able to bring on Rodrigo, Bruno Guimaraes, Anthony, and Gabriel Jesus. But you know what stood out for me here? Look at the 2 days running. You've seen this. We saw Spain do it last night. 54 minutes on the clock. Morata comes in because they're not quite ticking up front. We've seen today 46-minute attacking option, 58th minute attacking option in Bruno Guimaraes, 73rd minute Gabriel Jesus and Anthony. Remember when England was struggling and we left it until the 70th minute to make a change, and one of them was Jordan Henderson? That is what an aggressive manager does, a forward-thinking manager does. So they deserve the win just through those substitutions alone. I think the Swiss will get out the group, is what Chelsea fan believes. And you could very much be right on that, my friend. You really, really could be right on that. Let's have a look at a few more of these comments here. The Swiss team aren't that good. They can't string a few passes together. You've got to remember who they were playing tonight. They were up against the world's favorites. Most countries in the world, if you look at their betting patterns, are predicting Brazil to win it. Most pundits are predicting Brazil to win it. Switzerland, they might make the quarterfinals, but they were up against a superior team. If Switzerland opened up, committed more players forward, were more expansive, they would have got taken apart. However, though, when you actually break it down, it wasn't until very late in the game, when you look at the shots in this match, up until until they made those more attacking options, it was 6 shots each until that last kind of 20 minutes of the game when Brazil really started to step on the gas. They scored the goal. And once that goal went in, they created 2 or 3 more chances. But it was a very even game in terms of opportunities on goal, even though the possession was only marginally, by the way, as well, with Brazil. It was only 53% of the ball was with them. And you say can't complete a pass. Let's just have a little look here at some of the passing stats. Total passes attempted from Brazil, 520, 460 attempted from Switzerland, 456 completed by Brazil, 387 completed by Switzerland. So when you look at pass completion, only 4% better from Brazil. So I wouldn't say they can't string a few passes together. They did well, Switzerland, but they can't open up and be expansive because they would get absolutely destroyed against a team such as Brazil. Brazil looked like the real deal. Well, I think the first game they looked sublime. Today, they weren't as good. Part of that was massively down to Switzerland. However, they found a way. They found a way with their star player out injured. You can't ask for more than that, in my opinion, at this stage of the competition. Nav says Brazil still haven't conceded a single shot on target in 2 games. Well, there you go. Neeks and KJ joining me now to have their say on this Brazilian win. Make sure, viewers, you're hitting like buttons. Make sure you're subscribing. We will be live after Portugal versus Uruguay as well later this evening. So make sure you stay with the Football Terrace. Neeks and KJ are here now. Good evening, gentlemen. How you both doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It was stressful. I wouldn't say stressful, but it was a frustrating match. Especially with the disallowed goals where you thought, right, finally broke them down, got the goal. And I think once Brazil get the first goal, I'm very confident they can see it through and potentially get a second. But when that's disallowed, you're thinking, oh God, is it? Oh, you get a draw, and then you have to go play Cameroon and win that game. You want to just be through after 2 games, rotate the squad, especially there's a couple of injuries already, Neymar, Danilo. But yeah, they got it done in the end. Deserved win. But yeah, we can break it down in a bit more detail. But yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, it was a tough game, as you point out, and the Swiss really worked hard, made it difficult for Brazil to do too much. Slightly anticlimactic, maybe, KJ, when you compare it to the previous 2 games today.
Yeah, it's not what we thought was going to happen. We thought they was going to go and steamroll everyone else in the group. But credit to Switzerland for making it difficult. They defended well and defended hard, but just not hard enough in the end. Great shot by Casemiro. And I think as a Brazil fan, they'll be frustrated. But in the long term, I think these performances is how you start to build your way into winning the trophy. Because at the end of the day, that's 2 clean sheets. Haven't conceded a single shot on target. Haven't conceded a goal. You know what I mean? So if they can just keep this base of control, because they controlled the game. The game was all Brazil. So if they can keep doing that throughout the tournament, we'll start to see the flair come through nearly in every game. We get to see the patterns of play come through. So in the long term, yeah, this game was frustrating, but like for the tournament, I think actually no, this is actually a good base to actually just build off. And I think we're seeing I think we're seeing the favourites start to start to shape.
No, don't
Take
jinx
shape.
it. Don't jinx it.
You
Don't
know what
jinx
I'm saying? I'm not trying to KJ judge it. No KJ judge today. You know what I mean? Like, this is
Okay, good.
sincere. Like, I'm starting to think there's two teams out of all the teams that we've seen play. There's two teams that look absolutely like they're looking serious, and that is France and then also Brazil. Those two teams right now are looking like the best two right now.
The thing with the first two games, I think, first and foremost, this whole Brazil are better without Neymar. I think for me, I don't know who's actually better, whether it's Switzerland or Serbia personally, but I think for me, today showed Brazil are not better without Neymar. And I say that because I think we had to make about 3 or 4 changes really until we're able to break Switzerland down. And you look at the midfield, it was Fred, Paqueta, and Casemiro. All, fairly tidy on the ball. Fred maybe just less than tidy. They're fairly tidy on the ball. A few good passes into the feet of the wingers and Richarlison. But no one's driving from midfield. There was no real urgency or creativity, dynamism in that midfield. Whereas when you got Neymar in the 10, he drops deep, picks up the ball, and runs at the midfield, runs at the defense. He was fouled 9 times in the last game, and the rest of the Brazil's team were fouled twice. So that's the level of how much he's on the ball and making things happen. Mm-hmm. Nobody was doing that in the first half. You bring on Rodrigo, and he's not Neymar, but he gives them something a bit more to think about because of that agility and that movement in those pockets. And then it gives more space for Vinny and Rafinha, Anthony, and the striker. So I think little by little, maybe this game, next game, the previous game, this game, and then you see the next game. As much as Tite's been with his team for how long, I think he's still finding out the right combination, especially when Neymar is not there. Because Fred, Casemiro, and Paqueta, that midfield is going to struggle to break down low block teams, and therefore is going to struggle to win games when it gets to the knockout rounds when the game's much tighter. You need a Rodrigo or a Bruno Gomes in there for that little bit of more forward creativity and dynamism, and it also allows Casemiro to break forward because Bruno can drop into the number 6 role. So you get that interchange in there that you don't have when Fred's there.
Well, it's a great point you raised, and when you actually break down the statistics of this game, it was 12 shots to 6, but it was 6-6 in terms of shots and 5-5 on chances created up until the 70th minute. And in and around that 70th minute, we saw Gabriel Jesus, we saw Anthony come on. Of course, Bruno Gomes already made it. As soon as they had those extra attacking options, they in the last 20 minutes, they doubled the amount of shots they have, and they doubled the amount of chances they created in that last 20 minutes. And of course, you factor in more tired legs from Switzerland. They scored a great goal, which meant Switzerland opened up a bit more. So there are a few factors in there. But yeah, as you say, I think that Fred and Paqueta with Casemiro would be okay if they're playing. Maybe if they're playing more expansive teams. So against Serbia, that'd probably be okay. A little bit more playing. But against Switzerland, no, you don't want to be doing that. You as an example. But I did want to. There's a comment came through from a member. I want to talk about the goal. Really, it says, does Souness think that Casemiro's goal was a cross? Probably. Talk to me about Casemiro. Another very good performance from him. This time capped off with a sublime winning goal.
You know what? Yeah. People like to do this thing where someone who could be the best in the world, i.e. Casemiro, gets all the plaudits of whatever club they're at. They move to Man United, and because they're at Man United for 2-3 months and we're not doing too great, the world-class tag gets taken off them. You know what I mean? The best gets taken off them. It's like, oh, no, well, this season, they're crap. You know what I mean? And we saw that with Casemiro. How dare Graham Souness question the best the best center defensive midfielder in the world?
Right.
How dare he? He is a disgrace. And everyone who's coming in saying, this player's been better than him in the Prem, that player's been better. I don't care. He is the best defensive midfielder in the world. And we're seeing it.
And the thing is, you know what's crazy about that? Because obviously the kind of thing we said at the beginning, part of it, you said they haven't really started wearing the Premier League. For Casemiro, it was like 3 games. He didn't start 3 games, and therefore he's dropped below the level that he was 3 games ago when he was man of the match in the Super Cup for Real Madrid. And he was the best outfield player in the Champions League final, which was their previous competitive performance. So it's like him not playing for 3 games for Man United, coming into the team, should I say, and us going on, the run that we did and him playing at the level that he did. To say X, Y, Z player, I'm not even going to name those names because it's not about them today. But those players, I'm not going to say don't compare to Casemiro, but it's without a shadow of a doubt, he is the best because he was the best before he joined, and he's done nothing since to disprove the fact that he's the best.
There's no decline. There's no decline.
No, there's no decline.
There's no decline. There was like a little bit of an adaptation period where everyone said, leave him be. And he would, and as soon as he adapted, which is a lot quicker than everyone else thought it would be, it's like, yeah, we can see 60 million is a steal for this guy, Are you mad?
If Man United get a good 3 years out of him, because he's 30 years old, you can't really say, he's 35, 36, but 3 solid years out of him. Brilliant purchase. And he's essential for this Brazil midfield. As good as, Fabinho has been in the past, imagine he's out and you have to bring in Fabinho at the level that Fabinho's playing right now or has been this season. It's going to be a big drop off. So he's so crucial, and as I said, he can get forward. And
and like many people, myself included, most people saw Casemiro in the Champions League mainly. Maybe a few La Liga games, whether it be the derby with Atletico or El Clasico. And that's when we saw Casemiro. This guy's qualities, if people ever call him just a destroyer, is a disgrace.
Yeah, it's more than that.
He is so technically gifted. He can pass, he can shoot. Like all the shots he takes from Man United are never wild. The shot today, yes, it was a deflection, but it was on target and it was clean. It was a clean strike. Like he's just a talented footballer. He's such a good footballer. And to be for him to see as a workhorse, it's a disgrace. It's actually a disgrace.
The thing with it is when you watch it, you see it, but then this is why stats and eye tests have to go together at all times. If there's no stats backing up your eye test, your eyes are they're broken. They're broken. You can't say, my man was winning the ball all game, and then there's no statistic that proves that he's winning balls. Like, although there are a few that are a little weird, because I'm getting to a point where I don't really understand what constitutes winning a tackle. I saw a player the other day slide in and win the ball 3 times, and it said he won no tackles. And I'm like, that maybe they don't count that as a tackle anymore. I don't know. But, the most amount of interceptions tonight, most amount of blocks, 87% pass completion, over like passes sideways and backwards in the mid-90s. Of course, he scored that goal. He won the ball back for his team twice as much as anybody else and more than twice the amount of any opponent. This guy is sensational, and that wasn't even a game where he stood barring the goal where you didn't watch him go, wow, he did even more than I expected him to be able to do. He's just a sensational talent, and I think having been at Real Madrid with Toni Kroos and Modric, and then of course Camavinga being purchased, and there was a lot of hype around that, he was almost like the forgotten guy in that team in some way. He's not really looked at. Man United had another player like this years ago, not at Casemiro's level, even though he was top class himself in Michael Carrick. He was just never mentioned as an important part of our team, but he was. And I see Casemiro very much in that same light. And, he's been brilliant in these last 2. I mean, I would say over the weight of 2 games, he's been Brazil's best player without a shadow of a doubt. Getting the winning goal today.
Yeah, up there with Vinny. I think Vinny was very good in both games. And considering both teams were sitting so far back before the first goal went in, like especially in the first half, he was the only one really trying to take people on. But yeah, Casemiro, he's crucial. He's so crucial. So yeah, they got to make sure. I said rest them up for the next game. They're already through. I think a draw will put them through top, which is important because you don't want to play Portugal in the next round. You should beat Portugal, but you don't want to play Portugal. You want to save the harder games for the later, the latter in the competition if possible. So,
and I think everybody thinks like that, really. I mean, you've got situations like England obviously had a nice run in the last World Cup, and obviously we were the only country in history that have ever been mocked for not having to beat the best teams and getting progressing. Like no one, it's like when City get like 3 League 1 teams on the bounce in the FA Cup and no one says a word, but Man United get 1 championship team and suddenly the draw was fixed, the balls were heated. Look, they'll want to avoid them, and I'm sure they'll be able to. I think like what's been really nice about the World Cup as I say, today I feel like it really kicked off. And seen a lot of people online be a little offended by that. It's been a brilliant World Cup, and I do think there's a bit of politics going on at the minute. Almost, there's a lot of people on socials out there trying to protect Qatar, and I'm like, listen, whether it's a good tournament or not on the pitch, that has nothing to do with what country it's in. That's to do with the teams that are there and how they're playing. And I felt,
but I don't think, any politics aside, I don't think even before, let's say for the first round of games, I think it was a good World Cup because you had two big upsets.
Yeah.
You had Saudi Arabia against Argentina, and you had Japan against
Germany.
So there were some poor games. Don't get it twisted. The first game of the tournament was a poor game. Qatar was that bad, but I guess those upsets kind of carried it. It allowed it to kind of come into itself. And as KJ said in the group today, this was the first game. Serbia. No, which one was it?
It was Cameroon and
against Serbia. Yeah, the first game where both teams had lost their first game, so they had to go out and attack because they have to try and get a win. Obviously, it was a draw in the end, 3-3. So I think as you know, the tournament develops, next round it's like winner takes all. We're literally in most of the groups. We're in a knockout stage already, because teams know they have to win the last game.
Before this game, it was 30 out of the 32 teams could all qualify in the final day. After now this game play, now it's 29 teams
exactly
can all qualify on the final day. I do not remember a World Cup in my history, in my 26/27 years of life, that I can see there's only 2 teams that are qualified in match day 2. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy, bro.
You might get one more. I think maybe if Portugal win today, they may
go for it. If Portugal win, it's crazy. And I'm looking forward to the last set.
No, I do get your point. What I've kind of been disappointed in a few of the games is it's woken up where the team scored. It's been a lot of games have been pragmatic. However, what I have said in a lot of my match reviews is the last round of games starting from tomorrow, they're nearly every match is exciting. Yeah. Nearly every match, there's something riding on it. There's 1,000,001 outcomes that could happen on the day, depending on how many goals teams score, draws, wins. You know, I think there's at least 4 or 5 groups where everybody in the group could still go out and still qualify, which is so hopefully that's it. And we're now going to get that excitement levels, really rise to the surface. But Brazil and France, the 2 main favorites, are through. They're the only 2 that are completely through, aren't they? Which is crazy. Well, again, as you say, which basically means everybody else. I don't remember a World Cup, and maybe Portugal will add to that tonight. But I don't remember a World Cup where only 2 teams after round 2 games had 100% qualified, and everybody else could still go home. So that element, I think the excitement's about to come, because there will be a couple of casualties that you do not expect.
Oh, 100%. Belgium on the brink, Germany's on the brink, and Argentina's in the balance. Like, those 3 alone, like, England should go through. Like, let's be honest.
England's in a position where, like, even if we lose, we can still go through.
Like, we have to lose 4-0.
Yeah.
So we're very unlikely.
Even if we lose 4-0, it's like, who needs to, like, someone needs to lose or draw something, like, you know what I mean? So there's like so many things that need to so many permutations that I'm cushy, right now. But Lord, you see Germany, you see Belgium, you see, you see Argentina. And if Portugal don't win today, and that is very plausible that they do not win today.
I've seen the lineup. The attack's the same. There's no speed in that team again.
Yeah, I thought you would have started Liao.
I told you Santos tax, my brother.
Yeah, but one game, you wait one game, you say, I made a mistake. Man didn't even think he made a mistake. Man just thought, this is
it's Santos tax, but there's something. Listen, I don't know. Maybe there's a certain somebody in this Portugal team that doesn't want to be upstaged, or I don't know, but there's something going on there, because it's weird. Like, imagine like you got all those options and you go, right, I'm picking a team with no pace in it. Why would you ever do that? Why would you ever think that?
They put that Mendes guy left back. What's he about? I don't know.
Nuno Mendes. Yeah.
We'll see what he can add.
The PSG left back, right?
The PSG one.
Yeah.
I don't know too much personally about. I've seen him play, but I don't know too much about him. Super chat here says not even Jesus Christ could get Jesus to score. I mean,
did he have a chance? I don't remember.
He had one, I think, and he got blocked.
Well, he didn't have it. It says on here he didn't have a shot.
Yeah, I think the little part was in the box, but I think he passed it off. So
Yeah.
listen, I'm not going to get onto Jesus. He's not the starting striker for a reason, but hopefully he can make impact.
Yeah, it's a bit like in terms of Brazil when it comes to Jesus, he's Callum Wilson. No one's angry at Callum Wilson, so why would you be angry at Jesus? Like he's the second.
Imagine that. Yeah, your team's so good where Jesus is Callum Wilson in your team.
What
The hell, bro?
Mate, I mean, listen, you got to like. We talked about Spain yesterday, or was it? No, it wasn't. Me and Jess were talking about Spain yesterday, and we were saying, we're saying like, imagine having such a good midfield for over a decade, where players like Cesc Fabregas and David Silva, and you got the likes of Thiago Alcantara with both sets can't get any, barely kick balls because you had Xavi and Iniesta and Busquets, and now you've got Pedri and Gavi and Busquets, and it's just Brazil have that in abundance. They have so much quality. You can be top class. But England went through that. England used to have like top class centre backs that didn't kick a ball for England. Or didn't even get in the squads. Gary Pallisters, Martin Keown never kicked the ball at a World Cup.
England's,
and two of those guys, two of those guys went to major tournaments with England after winning FA Cup and Premier League doubles with their clubs and then didn't kick a ball for England. We used to have a situation with strikers in England where players like Andy Cole couldn't get in the squad. We didn't win anything with it. Like the Spanish and the Brazilians, at least they delivered something with that quality. But yeah, it's mad when you have that kind of depth. It's crazy.
And this is why I think sometimes Tite is so defensive at first, because he knows that on the bench I've got all these players. You know, Martinelli didn't come off the bench, for example, that can change the game. So it's like, well, if we stop them from scoring, this game may end in 0-0. So because I've got that much quality, I think that's his
mantra.
mindset. But the Brazilian public and the fans are just used to this all free throwing, gun hard, attacking football. Blow, I score more than you. Basically, we're not going to do this 1-0 kind of thing. But
I will say this though: both games, you could argue, are Brazil that good that they keep the ball so much, or are the teams allowing them to have the ball so much? I'm very curious to see what happens if a team presses them hard. I'm not saying that Brazil will falter.
If Brazil plays Spain will dominate the possession. I'm sure of that. Because I think Brazil are comfortable playing on the counter attack as well.
What I've seen so far, I would only be confident in saying Spain would dominate the ball against them. And when I say dominate, I think you've got to have at least 10% more to say you've dominated possession.
Yeah.
You've got to. Like, if it's like today, 53-46, that's not dominating the ball. It's having more possession, but you're talking a 3.5% swing. It's minimal. Brazil didn't face a shot on target. Are we sleeping on that? We mentioned it earlier in the stream, my friend, and it just shows how good they are. And the sobering fact about that is that if you do get a shot on target, Alisson's in goal. Alisson's in goal. Like,
I'm only worried when the ball gets to Alisson's feet, because even at Liverpool, he's had a few moments where it's like
he gets away with it. He gets away with it so much. Alisson. He does.
Yeah, as a shot stopper. And the thing is, big up Thiago Silva in it. I don't do this on a weekly basis because he plays for Chelsea. I'm not gonna do that. But that guy is like, today, Switzerland created a few opportunities, openings, and the fact that they get a shot on target wasn't because Brazil has 75% possession, but Thiago Silva was coming in, Marquinhos, Alexandro. Thiago Silva is still a boss. At 37 years old, this man is still a boss. Also, shout out to Akanji, because this guy, I think he might be the truth, I didn't even know who he was. I didn't even know who he was before he joined Man City. And I'm just like, Akanji started with Ake. What's going on there? Pep's lost it. And the man just put in performance on performance. And again, I'm not going to say this on a weekly basis, but today, I'm telling you, it should have been. Brazil would have scored at least two more potentially if Akanji wasn't there today.
Akanji clamped Vinny when he needed to. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and then he blocked that shot for Rodrigo as well.
Yeah, 2v1. Listen, quality defending, and this is why we love the World Cup, because we get to praise players we normally can't.
No, it's Akanji is very, very good, as you say. And I would say, as you say, slept when he joined. I didn't slag it off. I never do. When I don't know a player, I refrain from attacking the signing, because you never know how it's going to turn out, and I don't want to be clipped up with one of those. Oh, I think who's this unknown bum, and then suddenly he's dominating defenses. The game we saw today between Ghana and South Korea and Cameroon versus Serbia were to me two of the most entertaining games this World Cup, in my opinion. I would say they probably are the two most entertaining games. Yes, it's great seeing Brazil dominate Serbia, England smash Iran, and Spain dismantle Costa Rica. But that's one-sided. These games were in the balance from start to finish.
Yeah.
Both sides look like points in the game. Both teams looked like they were going to win. In the second half, South Korea were just absolutely dominating. You thought, they got the second, they're going to go on a win, and they didn't. You know, there was a time where you think, Serbia are going to maybe embarrass Cameroon when it went to 3-1, because in that last 10 minutes of that first half, it was over.
Oh yeah.
Yo,
we need 3-4-1 up at half.
The uniques. We need to call Salah, bruv, and tell him Abubakar sent us.
I saw that on Twitter. I'm out the loop. What's that mean?
So Abubakar said that he's better than Salah, basically, isn't it?
Yeah. He said he couldn't rate Salah. He said I don't rate Salah. I could do the things he does. Like it was
before the AFCON, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like
around
that.
I completely missed that. I saw everyone talking about it, and I'm like, he must have said something along those lines. I just didn't know.
That finish was brilliant. It
was mad. That was so unique. I don't know about you. That was so AFCON. That finish was so AFCON, bro. Like, I love it. And have you noticed the three most entertaining games have come from two African countries?
What's the first?
Ghana with Portugal, Ghana with South Korea, and then Cameroon with Serbia.
But this is like, especially. So go on.
I would say African football for me, I haven't watched loads of AFCON over the years, but whenever I do, I don't remember seeing very many boring games where everybody sits back and tries to defend. That they're a nation that like to attack.
Well, that's what I was going to say. But there was a period. It was around the time that Ivory Coast were kind of peaking, to be honest. Or just after they peaked, where the African teams got very boring. They tried to play this possession-based football, pass it around. I was like, this is not you. Return to your roots, direct, get the ball forward, down the, and that's why we love the World Cup, because it's a contrast of styles. You see African teams, maybe West African teams playing a certain way, even different to North African teams. You see the Asian teams, and then you see the European teams that we maybe know more about, the South American teams. When we see all these players, all these teams trying to play this one style, it worked for Pep, so we're gonna all pass out from the back. Nah, Rigobert Song said, I want a traditional keeper. Hoop that ball out front. Onana said, I'm not involved. Onana, go home.
Onana went, he went home. No, he went home.
So it's like, you need this contrast styles, because if not, all you're going to get is a boring World Cup where the favorites will win every time, because they're all playing the same way, and the better players, the better teams will always come out on top. So,
well, I think maybe that's been the issue with this tournament. I said it yesterday. Like, I think there's multiple issues, and a lot of people want to, as I say, defending it because they want to make sure that the target represented in the right way. And I understand that. And I don't, again, putting all politics aside, I haven't seen a single piece of footage from anybody in this country who's having a bad time, hasn't felt welcomed and respected. Because there's no drinking, there's no madness. Like, I'm actually not even going to lie. I think they should ban alcohol from all World Cups, because it just feels like people are having a good, like, you don't need alcohol to have a good time. I like a drink, but you don't need alcohol to have a good time. And I think there'll be a lot of England fans, and I say England because I'm just speaking about my own people here, that will come home and go, do you know what? I was waking up without a hangover. There was no fighting that was going on. Like, isn't it a much better environment without, like, alcohol is what leads to all the problems.
What's this? You had England, Wales playing in Qatar, and we didn't have of any incidents. But England fans and Wales fans in Tenerife, they were fighting when England played. When they were not playing well, playing in their group games, and it's like, but you're not even playing each other, and you're not even there. Yet you've got more anger and vim out in Tenerife, where you're supposed to be on holiday having a good time, and the ones in Qatar are enjoying themselves.
But it all comes down to, generally, when it comes to England fans, it's alcohol. It's alcohol. These will be the same blokes who, if a woman gets on the tube, they'll give their seats up. An old lady gets on the tube, they'll give their seats up. But they have a few drinks inside them. An opponent fan will say something negative, and something like, "Oh, well, as the Queen," I don't know what they'll say, and they get angry about it. And it's like, I've been at England games. I was in Portugal in 2004. And I remember just seeing it thinking, why would you fight someone over that? It's not even offensive. Like, they would say things that are just like goading. Like, it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? Like, just take it on the chin.
Yeah,
But
some
but
people riot.
mate, well, the stuff that I saw listen,
Belgium.
I understand there again, it's much more deeper rooted than football, but at the same time, I saw it and thought to myself, again, I saw that stuff at a box park where I mean, the one thing I saw at the box park where everyone's like throwing beer around, that didn't bother me. Like, for me, that's just that for me
That
is
is
just
part and parcel,
yeah, that's kind of like that kind of thing. I think is fair. Like, I remember once, right? This is one of the most amazing days ever. We only a handful of the supporters group I was with got tickets to Man City away. It's a very famous Man City away. 2-0 up, 2-2, Van Persie free kick to win it, right? We were in the Aspers Casino in Stratford watching it. And there must have been we arranged it, but also with a London supporters club for City as well. So they turned up and we turned up, but it was amicable. There was no animosity. We made sure of it. And there was about 60, 70 United fans and about 30, 40 City fans and loads of neutrals. And drink was flowing. I knew the manager at that time of the casino that used to go, come here, because they wanted to make their sports bar really popular. They had this 1,000-inch screen. It was amazing. A guy came along from Manchester, brought his girlfriend with him, and she was from Essex. She was very prim, proper. She dressed in like a blazer, nice white jeans. I was like, this is football. What's she doing? Anyway, we're watching it. The Van Persie free kick goes in, and the drink's just everywhere, right? And I just remember my only real memory from that moment of ecstasy was seeing her walk out half in tears, drenched, right? And there was all these cocktails we'd ordered. And her white trousers were blue and red and green. And I'm just like, when alcohol gets thrown at football, that's football in England. Like, if you're going to go to a big event where there's loads of people drinking, at some point you're getting alcohol over you, whether it's because of celebrating a goal or whether it's because one person gets a drink and everyone starts doing it. You got that. For me, isn't a problem. The violence is. But the point I was making is that these kind of games, I think I was saying last night, I think there's an element of people not wanting to go out too early, so they're being pragmatic. But equally, so many nations now just play with like a regimented system, and there's very little freedom for creativity and flair and style. And I just think like all these things have held the overall tournament back, but we are now starting to see it kind of come alive. This comment here says, off topic, apparently there's some commission in the Belgium locker room. KDB was pissed off and crying, apparently.
Commission? Well,
Commotion.
Oh, commotion.
Commotion, yeah.
Well, I know KDB came out and said they asked him, can Belgium win the World Cup? He goes, too old. I don't know the full quote, because then Vertonghen apparently came out after saying we're too old in attack. So I don't know if the statement that KDB made was kind of directed more at the Alderweireld and Vertonghen, who are obviously in their mid-30s. And yeah, that dressing room broken, and Canada should have done them over in that first game. They're fortunate to still be in the tournament with a chance. Who they play in the last game?
Croatia.
Oh yeah, Croatia is going to deal with them, bro.
They have to put them out of their misery, man.
Modric was showed in the definition of old man. You know what I'm saying? That's what's going to go on today.
Yeah. A lot of people didn't like my comment about ban the alcohol. Like I was just saying, like,
keep the alcohol, ban the terrace.
yeah. Listen, I'm just saying. I'm again. If you're not there, you don't necessarily get an opinion. I'm just making a suggestion. But I would love to talk to the match going fans that have traveled there who generally drink. So nations that are big drinkers. You know, the English, the Welsh, the Germans, off the top of my head, big drinking nations. Have you preferred it without alcohol? I would love just to get their feeling on it. I would love to know what they think and feel. And if they go, no, it's better with alcohol, then fair enough. But I guarantee you there's a fair number that go, actually, I was up earlier, I saw more things, I did more stuff, less violent, less problems, safer for kids, safer for women. Like, I think all these things are important. So, yeah. But there we go. Roberto Mancini and Henry are in the management, which lets you know, yeah, look, they've been good before Belgium. They're just broken, as you say. I mean, what I wonder is true. If KDB starts crying, right? Is that, I mean, I've been told one person was a coach, one person is a technical member, one person is a bodyguard. But will that big Ghanaian man turn up and take a selfie?
I can't believe it. That is so brazen. The team lost, and on the pitch, not even like in the tunnel, on the pitch. Man just gone over there. Someone was probably scared. That's why he was crying. The man's so big. He's
He's like, bro, we ain't got man as big as you in South Korea, you know. He's like, just take the picture. But yeah, but I didn't really understand why Son was crying because they're not out.
Nah, he knows. You know what it is? He knows. He tried so hard. He tried so hard. And he knows.
Son's always crying.
Yeah, but Son's struggling because he hasn't played against teams where there's room to run in behind. And unless he's got room to run in behind, Son's not that good a footballer. Son is not good against low blocks. Doesn't do it.
Are you saying he's basically Marcus Rashford?
No, Rashford can take people on in tight spaces.
That's
Oh,
that's a big call, Terry. I'm not gonna lie. I think he's a good footballer. Even
But why does he struggle so much and start crying when he plays against low blocks?
he plays for Spurs, man. I would struggle and cry if I.
I'm only winding people up. We had another super chat, I think, that came in then. It says Onana was Belgium's best midfielder, and fake Sam Allardyce Martinez takes him off that bum. Yeah,
I like him. He's been good for Everton this season.
Yeah, I like him.
And to be fair, it's been good for Belgium as well. So
yeah,
they just need to literally just start again, rip up the whole thing. Don't play the Hazard.
I mean,
don't play either Hazard, brother.
But KDB's right. The team is old. He's not wrong. Like maybe you shouldn't necessarily say that in public.
You don't say that though. You don't.
Yeah, but the team is old. The team's old. It needs a refresh.
But there is another footballer that might be in tears soon at the World Cup. Lionel Messi, because there is a rumor that Canelo, the boxer, is looking for him because man was cleaning the floor with a Mexico flag, you know. Like
I heard about that. I saw Canelo's tweet.
I would love, you know what? I don't want him to get hit by Canelo, but there is a part of me that's like, I'd love to see the social media fallout if Canelo was to like lay him out cold, imagine knocking out like, the best boxer in the world, pound for pound, knocking out one of the best footballers in the world, pound. That'd be so. I mean, it wouldn't be funny. But can you imagine? Like Canelo wouldn't care.
That's just mean. That's just mean.
That is mean.
You would not be saying that either of you. If tomorrow, if Harry Maguire tomorrow, not that it's going to happen, was caught cleaning the floor of the England dressing room with the Jamaica flag, you began mental, KJ.
Yeah, listen. I wouldn't like it, but I'm not going to be like, yo, who's the best Jamaican boxer? Go beat him up. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't do that.
But if you were that boxer, you're still KJ. If you were a boxer, you still think that.
Yeah,
Canelo's just the Mexican who's like, why are you running?
I'm not saying Canelo's wrong. I'm just saying I wouldn't be like you and saying, "Oh, can I pay for it on pay-per-view?"
Messi Canelo won. You know what I mean?
Let's just get on the phone to Eddie Hearn. Eddie, can you make this fight happen? Messi versus Canelo.
I mean, to be fair, I'd probably rather see that than Fury against Chisora again.
Yeah, but having said that, I'll still be paying for it. I could just, do you know what it is with those kind of fights? I can't not watch it because my fear is that I worry that you imagine you miss Chisora sparking him unconscious. Like imagine missing that.
Yeah.
It's like when McGregor fought Mayweather. I knew McGregor was going to lose, but it was I've got to win just in case he beats him. I've got to witness it. I have. It's like when Jake Paul fights. I'm not against what he's doing, but I'm not also like, oh wow, it's amazing. But I don't want to miss it because I want to see him win. I want to see him lose at the same time. It's kind of weird. But there we go. This super chat says, if Mbappe wins his 2 World Cups, he will already be one of the greatest players at his age, even better than Neymar.
I mean, some people already have him better than Neymar. And I hear the argument. If he wins 2 World Cups, and obviously he's going to be a key player, then I don't think there's much of an argument. Like, he's producing as much, if not more, at the same team at PSG. He will have 2 World Cups to his name, and the records are going to keep coming, barring injuries for him. So if not now, then definitely he'll pass him probably before Neymar.
And if he does it this World Cup, it won't be like the last time where he's like the young kid coming through, breakout started. It'll be he is the guy. Like that.
He led them to it.
Yeah. Now especially Benzema's gone now. He's not there. He's injured. He's the one they're looking to, and this is the version of Mbappe I wanted to see at the Euros. At the Euros, it looked like everything was getting to his head. He had some weird arrogance about him that wasn't not the good arrogance, the bad arrogance. You know what I mean? While playing football. So seeing him now, I'm like, this is the guy.
Maybe Benzema's the problem. Maybe Benzema's the problem, and the fact that he wasn't in the France squad for how many years? You know, when he was banned, etc., etc. and they were able to prosper. And comes in to the Euros, and because he's there in the Euros, wasn't he? Yeah, and they got knocked out.
He scored those
So,
a couple of goals.
people say, "Oh, who was the manager?" Yeah, Deschamps cost Benzema a World Cup, and I'm like, maybe Benzema was there. They would have won a World Cup. Like things just don't work out like that, innit? So maybe he's happier because there was rumors that some of the players are happier now that once Benzema was ruled out. Mbappe may be one of them.
Well, we will certainly see. If you people are saying that Canelo has to respect the GOAT, you can tell him that. Some people saying, Terry, you're lying. Messi didn't do that. I'm just going by what Canelo said. I'm not questioning Canelo, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? Because no, I'm just not. Might bump into him one day. Might remember me from a picture on my tweet, and I ain't getting on Canelo's bad side 100%. Like, I'm leaving it there. Boys, I appreciate you coming on. Viewers, we're back live after Portugal versus Uruguay in a couple of hours' time, so make sure you're tuning in. Smash the like button before you leave. Subscribe to the Football Terrace. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Thank you.